I'm here with my big friend of UK, Alex Dowsett, the first winner of the World Tour race for Israel Start Nation. I'm happy. I stay in the car in this day. I'm very happy. Sometimes I'm afraid because it's too hard, but
it was a little
in
too
this
hard.
day, he are the best rider of the Giro d'Italia, #1. Now also his father, and complete the goals of the year.
Yes.
And now we started in 1 goal, Olympic game.
Yeah.
Come on, boy.
An hour record.
Oh, yes. Come on, boy.
Yeah.
Go straight.
Hello and welcome back. I am in just outside Girona at the moment for the 2021 team training camp with Israel. So almost all of us are here. We're sort of staggered a little bit, but at some point 29 of the 32 riders will be here. The only riders that are not coming are 2 Australians for, I guess, obvious reasons. Travel to and from there right now is super difficult. And Fumi, who's across in America training. There's quite a few new signings this year with the likes of Daryl Impey and Paddy Bevan and Carl Frederick Hagen. Who else is here that's new? Michael Woods. Yeah, so I'll give you a little look around into some of the training we're doing. Some of the we're all on new bikes. We're all on the new Factor Ostro, which I guess I'll do a completely separate video on. It's a very good bike. It is, and I don't use that word lightly. Actually, I don't. If I don't think a bike's very good, I generally don't put it on this channel. When a bike is sponsored, I can't talk badly about it, obviously, but I can not talk about it, I guess. But Christ, when a bike is good, I'll rave about it. And this new Ostro that we've got is it's good. It's very good. But we'll go into that later. Today is day 2, and today's training was, they're splitting us up into groups of 5 or 6. I'm in the sprinter lead-out group, which is some real familiar faces. Me, Rick Zabel, Matthias Brandley. Also, Guillaume, I think I've pronounced that right, Boivin, who's a Canadian punchy rider, and Greipel, who, if you haven't heard of him, you really should have done. And today we did sprints together, and I went up against Greipel 9 times, and I lost 9 times. And actually, I remember Adam Blythe saying when he was on the motorbike at the Tour de France, it was quite something because he got to witness the climbers going full pelt up a climb firsthand, which is something that a rider like him and a rider like I would never see, because by that point we're a good sort of 30 minutes back. And kind of the same with sprinters. Like I mean, I get close. I get up to like the K to go, 800 meters maybe, and then leave those fast guys to it. Today we went up against Greipel, and the efforts we were doing, it was 10 pedal strokes, so sort of 7 seconds of effort. We do 5 pedal strokes seated, and then 5 pedal strokes full blown out the saddle sprint, coming in from like a medium speed, not fast, not slow, just a medium speed. Andre would edge away from me on the seated sprints, like, and I'm there thinking like, God, I'm holding my own here. And then when we got out the saddle, it's like he's on another planet, just disappears. It's quite something, actually. It's impressive. It's very impressive to see, and it's pretty cool to be able to see it firsthand whilst he just rides away from me. Got to do photos at some point. I haven't had a haircut in ages, so I'm gonna have to make do with what I've got here. Probably have a shave, and yeah, we're in a real nice hotel, and I've lucked out with the single room. And apparently this was down to Rory Sutherland, so he really has excelled himself. I'm not quite sure what Rory's job is in the team, but after seeing the hotel at training camp, I know it's important, and he should be valued because he secured this hotel, and it's beautiful. Anyway, bye. Just finishing off day 3 of training camp. Definitely tiredness is kicking in a little bit now. So what did we do today? So we had 5 hours, got 165k, and we did some lead outs right at literally rode to the hotel, and then we did the lead outs. So I guess simulating actually, doing lead outs in training camps is always a funny one, because it's a dream scenario where you do your turn, you swing off, but the reality of a race is far from that. In a race you spend 50k jostling for position, but not to be near the front, but not at the front, to make sure your sprinter's in the right place all the time, just to keep them out of trouble, keep yourself out of trouble, keep your sprinter out of trouble. And then by the time it comes time to drop all the watts in the lead out, you're already on your hands and knees. Matthias and I will generally be doing a lot of the leg work in that final 10k, so we might be, an average for the last 10k, last 20k will be comfortably over 300 watts. So the lead outs we're doing here are, we enter behind a team car at speed, we deliver 300-400 meters as fast as we can, and then we swing off, and you're not fighting for position, you haven't had 50k of fighting. It's good because it's getting back on that wheel, back on up to sort of into the 50-60 kilometers an hour marks. We swapped around the positions a bit. There was 5 of us: Sjors, Rick, Matthias, me and Andre as the sprinter. Although in the last set we swapped around Rick and Andre, and we swapped me, G and Matthias around as to who was going first, second and third. It was good fun though, it was good fun. Andre was in good spirits, happy with how the lead outs had gone. We were all happy with how the lead outs had gone. So yeah, ended the training session on a high today. Before that we did some uphill sprints, which are just my favourite. Clocked a power PB of 1390, which is good. I mean, it's always, you like to think that the power meters always bob on every single time, but sometimes fluctuations in temperature and whatnot can throw it a little bit. But I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. It's in the same way my final TT of the Giro was 500 watts average. I knew it wasn't 500 watts, but you just leave it, don't you? You just leave it on the old training peaks. So tomorrow's day 4 before a rest day, so we'll be, we've just got a long one tomorrow, a couple of 20-minute thrown off efforts, but we're gunning for 200k, so it should be a 6-hour day. Some hills, but not super hilly. We'll have a group of 6 instead of a group of 5, so it just sort of shares the workload a little bit, which is good. Yeah, everyone's in really good spirits. It's nice here. I know then this afternoon had a team meeting, or like individual rider meeting with the head director Rick Verbrugge. I'm not quite sure how one is to pronounce that surname. I'm sure any Belgians watching will be able to correct me, where we talked about race program, and then mostly just chatted about prologues and how awesome the Romandy prologue normally is, but this year looks a bit tame for Romandy. I mean, it's still only short, it's like 4k, but there's only about like 5 corners, and usually there's 25, so they seem to have calmed things down a bit, which is a pity. So yeah, after a rest day we'll have a 3-day block, a rest day, another 3-day block, and then that's when I depart the camp, because Israel Startup Nation recognised that Juliet was just 2 weeks old, and leaving at that point isn't easy, so they've allowed me to duck out the camp early, which is great, and head back, where I will obviously continue training, but also spend time with my daughter, which is still quite a surreal thing to be saying. Chanel's holding down the fort great at home. Juliet is keeping us on our toes, trying to get her into some kind of routine, but she wants to be on her own routine, which isn't a routine. Yeah, it's a thriller minute, as I'm sure many of you will know. That's me for today. I'll keep you updated.
What do you want to say, Alex?
What do you want to say, Matthias?
Well, you did a really good job yesterday evening by giving the prizes to all the people.
Yeah, are you disappointed you didn't get a prize?
I was expecting a prize.
For what?
For most funny person in the team. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed, but
It's funny because no one on YouTube's laughed at you yet.
I will do my best, you know, and
Maybe for most disappointing season.
maybe yeah.
I'm joking. Oh, if only we had team time trials, hey.
And so that's the end of training camp. I will now. I'm heading home. All of the team are here right now, except for, like I said, the 2 Australians and Fremy. And so 4 guys, including me, head home today. The rest stay for another 3-day block, and then that's it. Like, that's camp done. It's funny because that's the last time I'll see some of my teammates until, well, perhaps ever, because quite often, especially with 32 riders, and there'll be a lot of guys that I don't race with all year, and then if they don't stay with the team for next year, that's it. But it's a real good crew. We put together a bit of an awards evening last night, because the thing is, what we missed. Normally you'll do a camp in November or October or December where training's not quite so important, and you can afford to lose a day to a hangover. And you know, you can do all the team bonding in the world, like with, you know, doing activities, but actually the best way of bringing a team together is a night out. And with it being January, us quite close to racing, it's not, and actually with COVID, there is no going out. So last night, which was the night before rest day and the night that the last night that we're all together per se, I would put together a little bit of an awards evening just for some of the funny stuff that happened this year, some of the mistakes people made, some of the hilarious incidents that happened. Put that all together and a bit of a presentation and just talked a bit about what had happened, the good, the bad, the ugly. Made sure there was a couple of bottles of wine on the table, so you know, we could have a drink or two, but no one went mad. Oh yeah, and introduced the new guys as well, so they had to stand up and say. I gave them a heads up. I said there was going to be an initiation of sorts, and I said to them that I'd like them to stand up and say something about themselves that has nothing to do with cycling, that we wouldn't know about them. And so that went down a storm, and so it's just been real nice. Like I said, a real good crew. Training's been hard. We've been blessed with weather, I think, because Girona in January could go one or two ways, so we've done really well there. And but looking forward to getting home to my daughter, which still sounds quite surreal to say, and Chanel. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully we can go racing soon, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, and that's what we didn't do enough of last year. So hopefully Bressage is still on, but I think certainly my first concrete race will be UAE Tour. But the thing we just found out today that Algarve's been postponed, so it could all change again still. I think if stuff's being postponed now and it does go ahead, we could be in for a packed season, and we could be quite lucky having 32 riders in this team, with a Pro Conti team that we can draft riders in from, because we possibly will need them later on in the year if there comes a time where we're running a triple or even a quadruple race program. So anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time.